YouTube. So I just failed to do a video completely. I ended up talking for 20 minutes. My plan was I was going to do different wiring to this and this guitar. So this should hopefully make up for it. One of the reasons I wanted to do this because I think it would involve coil splitting humbuckers that don't want to be coil split. So I'm going to show you how to coil split a humbucker that doesn't want to be coil split. Here we have a humbucker. I'm not sure where it came from. I've got so many pickups lying about, I don't know. But you've got two wires. Yeah, you can see. I have to cut myself at the gig. So two wires. Often, well, looking at this one, you can sort of see that basically this has been terminated. This would normally be the white wire would be running around the centre, and the outside would be a shield. That is what this is, but it's been taped up to make it look like a bit easier to work with. But ultimately, that is the shield wire. Yeah, the outside, the sleeve, if you will, and then this runs through the centre. So normally you would put that, if you're wiring this up, that would go to the back of the pot, and this would go to the, if you're wiring this up as a volume control, you would connect this to the back there to earth it, and then that would go to the back of the pickup. The white would go to lug 3 there, and then the output would go on the middle lug, and then that would be your single pickup guitar. So what I'm going to do is, so this only has, you can't coil split this pickup, it's only got two wires. Also, see if you were going to phase it, to phase reverse the guitar, all you would really do was, if you swapped these round, so instead of having this one as ground and this one as hot, you made it the other way around. The problem there is the ground is connected to this metal base plate, which is an issue. It's more of an issue with one with a metal cover on it, because then it would make it's connected to the metal cover as well, which basically means if you touch the metal cover, it'll buzz like, it'll do that, you know, like when you touch the end of your, you can't get electrocuted doing this, but you can't get electrocuted doing this if your amp's not, unless your amp's fucked. It would do that whenever you touched the cover, which is useless. On this one, although it doesn't have a cover on it, you'd be alright touching the poles, but see if you touch the screws that are holding the base plate on, it would do that. Also, it would mess about with the, because you're running, it would mess about because it would make this part of the circuit if you were facing it round. So it's not only would it be this wire going round the coils and then coming out again, it would be this wire going round, the base plate would be in there as a big antenna to pick up interference and add resistance and make it sound not as good. So what I'm going to do is, see how this is just basically held on with tape around the outside. What I'm going to do is try and find the edge of this tape. I would say that's it there. And if you can get your fingernail in below there, try and pick it off on a oneer. Use my trusty Stanley knife blade. And yes, no, you should never use a Stanley knife blade without a knife. I'm just so used to using it as a tool from work. Right, so there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel this tape off. And we don't know yet whether this is going to be an easy to do one or a hard to do one. But we'll find out in a second. It is going to be it might be a hard to do one. So this is just basically coming all the way off. And I'm going to stick it to the side of the table so it doesn't get all crumpled up. It'll go back on. Right. So as you can see here, if I poke this out here, right, you can see that can you really see? You can, right, pointy thing, good pointy thing, reasonably good pointy thing. So you can see there that the shield wire, in this case, it's got a black bit of wrap on it, but it would normally just be bare. That wee bit of thing will only run to there, right? You can see that it's connected, it's soldered onto the base plate, like I was saying. So if you wanted to use this for phase, if you were going to phase this pickup, you know, in your guitar, what you would do is see if you disconnected that and just cut it off, and then stick a new wire onto there and use that as your earth. That would mean that you could keep the base plate. This is the same if it had a metal cover, even more so. It would keep it earthed, and it would separate it from this coil. Currently, the start of the pickup, if you look in below that, you can't really see. I'm going to have to peel off more. So I've now got to peel off the next layer of tape, this shiny stuff. So again, I've got to find where the start is. I think that looks like the start of it there, doesn't it? And again, there we go. Yep. So I'm going to peel this off. I don't know how many times this is going to be wrapped round. Sometimes they make this dead easy and sometimes they don't. Right, peeling it off, peeling it off, peeling it off. But nice if it just came out. Okay, that's just... I'll just stick that to the side of this stool again. And then... It doesn't really help things very much. So I need to find the next bit. Up, there it is there, isn't it? At the start of this bit of tape. Yep, you got the start of this bit of tape. So... This is all, you can see there's bits of wax everywhere because this has been wax potted. Most pickups are. As I said, I don't actually even know what kind of pickup this is, apart from it being a humbucker. Right, now I peel this all the way off. We're into it. Right, that's the last of it. Is it? Yes. Yes, right, so stick that to there, because these are all going back on again. Right. Now you can sort of see. Right, so this is the start of this coil. This is your black wire. See how it's split in two? What's black at the other end split in two. Part of it goes to the base plate. So basically you're connecting the start of the coil to the base plate, and then this is the output of this coil. Yeah, and then that would be your hot. So the earth is starting here, going round this coil, going into this coil, going round this coil, and then coming out on the white line. What is not super apparently obvious? There it is. I can't see it because it's black. This is a pig. This one. This is what you don't want, right? See that black wire there? That wire joins the two coils together, right? So as I said, the signal starts at earth here, goes round this coil, goes through this black wire into this coil, and then comes out here. What I want to do to add the extra wire is cut this joining wire, which as you can see in this pickup is a pig. I'm tempted to not bother doing it with this one, because what I've got to do is add a wire onto there. So I've got to try and peel off. There's not an awful lot of it there. If there's some way, if I can somehow get that exposed, the black wire, yeah, and then add an extra wire onto that, that's your third wire for your coil splitting. But this is damn fidgety. There's always the possibility of breaking it. Sometimes they make it really easy. Was it a Yamaha I had? And it was great. It just had like a terminal and you just solder a wire on. And this one, I don't know if I can really be bothered doing this. Can I? I don't even know what pickup it is. I mean, it'll be going in a... I don't even know if I got a measuring. I wonder if it's a bridge or a... millimeters. I've lost my steel rule. It's really annoying. So it's a 50mm space one. So the chances are this is a neck pickup. Not 100%, but in modern pickups the neck would generally be 50 and the bridge would be 52 because the nut, if you imagine, is quite thin and the bridge is wider. So the strings aren't parallel. They do that a little bit. Hence your FGN circle frets to do that. So when your strings are doing that, the strings go over the frets completely perpendicularly, which makes a massive difference. Doesn't do any harm. I've kind of already started the video, so I really got to do it, don't I? I mean, there's so little to play with there. I mean, quite often, what's great sometimes in these pickups is you get the two wires. It's literally, say that black wire is just one wire. Quite often it's a wire coming out and another wire coming out, and the two of them are joined together, and it's just like, yes, all you have to do is pick off a wee bit of plastic shielding, solder your new wire on, put a tape on it, and it's done. I'm tempted to just not bother doing this. It can be done, but it's awfully fidgety. We're talking about 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to find another pickup that isn't quite the same as this. In fact, I'll put it back together again. I'm not going to do this pickup. So, I mean, I'm doing really well with failing to do videos today. Yeah, that's 2 videos that have totally failed. The joys of winging it. So this will just go into something that doesn't need a coil split. I'm even tempted to write on the back of this with a black pen saying pig I think I'll write pig to split, perhaps, and then I'll know what I mean. I'm just putting this tape back on again, and I'll put this back in, and this will be going in a guitar. I don't know. I'm not being particularly careful about which way round these tapes go. Not really necessary, these two bits of tape. This one is, so this one I want this to go on, start with the sticky end. Not really sure which the sticky end is. I'm sure it started kind of around about there. See, I'm kind of taping it onto the metal base plate there, so that it gets a grip, and then putting it really tight, and then wrapping it round, keep tucking it in, 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 and I may have to, I've done it plenty of times like this before, but I'm actually going to write pig to split on it with a black pen. Pig to split. While I'm at it, I'm going to measure it and see what. So set my multimeter to 20k, and then 8.7. That's actually quite a powerful sort of PAF type neck pickup. It'll be fine. See how the sticker's not quite sticking. Maybe a wee tiny bit of super glue on there just to stick it back together again. So right, if I get any other pickups lying about, there's one there. What's this one? Oh, this one I think we're already on to a winner, I think. Nope, this is an Epiphone one. It says Epiphone on it, right? So I'm not going to fail. I'm going to split this pickup. I don't know what this is. Where's my measuring thing? So this would be this is 50 as well. So this is probably a neck pickup. Look how damaged it is. This is one that's maybe would want some sort of cover on it. Well, this is actually a little bit grottier, but it's similar principles, right? This one looks a bit easier. So there's your, as I said, with the other pickup, there's the shield wire, right? And the other one, it had a wee bit of black rubber shielding on it. So it's like this goes down the centre and this wraps around the outside of it. The shield wire is your positive. Your shield wire just moving things out the way so you can see it. Right. So you can actually see it. Right. So can you see this? There's a brown wire there, right? That brown wire goes straight onto this shield wire. The shield wire is connected to the base plate. So again, if you wanted to do this as a phasey thing, you would disconnect that, tape it all up so none of this touches the base plate, and add an extra wire to the base plate for your earth. So the brown wire is connected to this shield. It goes in round this coil, through this red wire, which is this time longer, so I've got a bit more to work with, and then into this coil, round this coil and out for your two humbuckers, your two pickups. I'm now going to make sure this pickup works, because it looks like I've been in it before, so it might be broken. Again, setting it to 20k. Bang. Bang. 14. That's a neck pickup. So that you'll notice that is basically twice the resistance of what that other pickup was. That does not mean it's a more powerful pickup. It does not mean it's a louder pickup. It might have a different type of magnet in it, because although people will say, oh, blah blah blah, you want hot pickups. Oh, I don't want anything with less than a 14 on the. There's more to it than that. It's not just all the resistance tells you is how much wire there is. The resistance of the wire, it doesn't give you. Actually, there's a thing called Henry's, which is not easy to measure using one of these. If you look up Josie Warman, Warman pickup sites, it'll tell you about that. You need like an oscilloscope, and I don't know how to do it. But that's actual output, which takes into account the type of magnet, the strength of magnet, and the coils, and what they're made of. All these things. That's what makes your pickup. So basically all I'm going to do here is cut that wire. I'm just going to cut it, and then, yeah, I'm just going to cut it. I've already failed with this whole thing, so there you go, snipped. So now this pickup doesn't work because I have now disconnected the two wires. So what I'm going to do is turn on my soldering iron, give me a couple of minutes to warm it up, and then never use a raw Stanley knife blade on its own. You'll cut yourself. So that's what I'm doing. And as you can see how fidgety this is, even with a little bit more wire. That other pickup I had just had a really short one. That would have been an absolute pig. Doable. I mean, the technology's there. It's exactly the same system. It's just damn fidgety. Yeah, so I've now just exposed the two ends of those wires. It looks really red there. Exposed those two wires. So what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to join those two together again, because you have to, and then stick another wire onto the end of it. Have I got a bit of... Where's the bit there? A bit of wire. I'm going to expose the end of this as well. And I'll see if I can find some heat shrink cabling, but I might not be able to find any heat shrink cabling, so I'll just use a bit of duct tape, a bit of insulating tape, which we've all got. I'm not one for spending lots of money and buying lots of equipment that you don't technically need. You do need it, but you don't really need it. Yep. This is well, I totally have that. And now you can see why I generally don't do any wiring while you wait. If it's a case of sticking one wire back on again, you know, the volume controls a wire off it, that's fine. But as soon as it becomes anything else, you just get multiple problems that you've got to deal with. So sometimes it takes 5 minutes, sometimes it takes 20 minutes, although obviously it takes an awful lot less time when you're not talking shit the whole way through it like what I am. So I've put solder on the end of this wire. My mantra: you put solder on the wire, and then you put solder on the other wire, and then you join them together. You don't just... Now these are really small, thin, shitty wires, so I'm going to put solder onto that one. Bing. Is that enough? Yep. Same on this one. Bing. So I've put solder on the ends of both of these wires. And that's how I clean solder. I just tap it and then wipe it in your trousers. Jeans. Not... right. So this is where it gets fidgety, because what I've got to do is attach both of these together with this one. And as you can probably imagine, they're not going to want to do that, because you're trying to stick three things together at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke that out of the way. Can I just bend that in like that? And bend that in like that. So they're hopefully going to end up sort of together. Oh, is this how I'm going to do it? See, I need more hands. It's like, I was going to say you need 3 hands. No, I need 4 really to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And it's going to be a little bit haphazard, but I'm going to do it anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and stick this to both of these. So if I stick this to this one, they've both got solder on them. That's how they managed to stick. And then if there's any way of attaching that one to it as well without disconnecting the other two, so I've actually managed to do it in one. Yes. Result. Yep. So now you can see, and I'm just going to make sure. So this red wire, which joins the two pickups together, that's definitely connected, and so's that one, and so's this one. Yep. So what I really want to do is put a wee bit of heat shrink cabling on. I'm pretty sure I had a wee bit lying about somewhere. That's a bit big, that bit, but it might do. Ideally you'd put this stuff on and heat it with a lighter. That's just heat shrink cabling, but I've got very little of it left, so I'm just going to use a wee bit of insulating tape. Just so it doesn't touch anything. A wee tiny bit. And just... Right, so that won't touch anything. Booyah. Right. And then if I was going to continue, what I would do is I would poke this wire, which is now incredibly long, that's fine. Poke it through this base plate hole as well, like this one. You could colour coordinate these things, but I didn't. Pull it all the way through, pull it all the way through, pull it all the way through. Right. And then kind of squish it in there, and then like that. Which you're going to see, this bit of tape that was wrapped around it's a bit crap anyway. I don't think it's not got any stickiness left into it because the pickup was so knackered. But there, you get the idea. To be honest, I would probably just wrap that in. Well, to be honest, it's probably going in a bucket caster. So I'll just wrap it in insulating tape, and that will keep it. When I say it's a bucket caster, the reason it doesn't matter when it's yellow, because yellow will kind of go with the bucket colour. And it'll go, oh, that's pretty cool. Look, he's got special yellow bits on the pickup. Yep. Bang. So, well, there's no point in this wire being as long as this, so I'll snip this here. I don't want to get the soldering iron out again. I've just turned it off. Right. So, we now have a a not coil splittable Epiphone pickup that you can coil split, and I will show you this by using what was it, this one? This one was it 14K? So ideally, assuming I've not broken anything, this should still read 14K. Bang. Was it 10K it was at then? Not 14. Yeah, well, it's not. How accurate is this thing? Obviously not that accurate. Maybe if I turn it off and turn it on again, it'll come up. It might have been a misreading the first time. It might have been using my finger. So it's basically there. Anyway, it's working. There you go. 14K now. The battery's going flat on this. Right. So if you this wire here, which joins the two coils together, if I take that wire and stick it onto the shield. It should read half. 7 something. Half the pickup. Also, if I stick it onto this one, it should read the other half of the other coil. 6.9. So one of the coils is 6.9 and the other coil is 6.6. So, yeah. The two of them together. Right, so if you imagine this, just thought of something. Right. So as I said, there's your full output coming in at 13.7. We're just going to call it 14, right? It's not that accurate. Just call it 14, right? Here's your other wire, the extra one, your coil splitty wire. See if I stick that. So if you imagine a switch doing this, if I switch that and stick it onto the shield, bang, right? And then connect it up again, you get the 7. So what that's doing is, because you're putting that onto the shield, you're short-circuiting the first coil. So you're only going to get the second coil. Hence it's coil split, right? This is what my coil choice switch does. Basically, you've got this extra wire not doing anything. You've got a full 14K. You stick it onto there, you get your 7K, but it takes out the first, because you might imagine it's like the electricity starts from the shield, goes round the coil, comes out the coil, goes to this. So if you just put that there, it'll just go straight from there into the second coil. If you put this to the other one, the output, right? Well, there's not going to be a wee bit fidgety. Bang. I've got to try and hold that and that together at the same time. It's just going to be impossible. You might just have to trust me that this is what it does. So if I can stick the two of these together like that, right? So those two should both be touching, right? And then I go to there. You've got your 7K again, but this time it's the circuit, the signal is starting at the shield. It's going all the way around the first coil, ending here, bang. So and then this one, electricity, it's not going to go through the second coil because it can easily just go straight to output. So that gives you the other coil. That's what a coil choice switch does. What a coil choice switch does is I would have this connected up, and you either choose to connect the middle line to the start, which gives you the north coil, and if you choose it to the other one, you get the south coil. That's a coil choice split. I think I made that sound much harder than it actually is. I've talked for 25 minutes video, so another failure, but there you go. So that's now a coil splittable pickup. I can now choose, if you put the output to, I can't remember which is which, but you can choose which one it is by depending on whether you put it to the start of the pickup or the end of the pickup. Will give you either one of the two coils. Yeah, so expect to see this. Look, it's pretty manky, isn't it? To be honest, I think this one's going to have to get some sort of cover put on it if I can get one that fits, because that's really all scuffed and minging. Or I might put it in a, I don't know, a comedy guitar, you know, one that I made out of a spade or something stupid. Also, I noticed that the screws that are holding it in are this kind of screws, so those are not, it'll go in, but it's not the correct ones. It's probably a bit goose, this pickup, to be honest. It's a pickup. It'll work. It's an Epiphone pickup, so it's not an absolute shit one. They did have to, the old Samick Epiphones, like the good ones, had shit pickups in it, but the ones that are actually branded Epiphone, they're not shit. They're actually all right. Pretty good. This one looks pretty scuffed and knackered, and I'll just throw that out. Yeah. So hopefully that was some sort of interesting wiring. You learnt something, maybe. Kind of talking about it really slowly and keep repeating myself over and over again. Hopefully makes it make sense. Maybe. Rock on!